the realm of Asgard, where the golden halls shimmered under the watchful gaze of Odin, a ripple of unease coursed through the air. Loki, the trickster god, had returned after a lengthy absence, and with him came whispers of chaos. His presence stirred memories among the Aesir of mischief and mayhem that often accompanied his visits. He stepped into the great hall, adorned with tapestries telling tales of valor and conquest. Loki's eyes glinted with mischief. He was a master of disguise, often charming yet dangerously unpredictable. Gods felt his arrival before they saw him in electric tension that made even Thor grip Mjolnir tighter in anticipation. And sensed this disturbance brewing within his home. Gathering the gods for an assembly became imperative. The Allfather took his place at the head of the long table, his voice resonating with authority as he called for silence. The air thickened as all eyes turned to him, awaiting his words on how to address this looming threat. Thor's brow furrowed in frustration at the mere mention of Loki's name. He could never trust the trickster, and their history was stained with conflict and rivalry. In stark contrast stood Freya, radiant and wise. She recognized both Loki's charm and danger. Arguing passionately against Thor's desire for banishment, she believed it wiser to observe Loki's actions rather than react hastily. Tensions mounted in discussion. Heimdall remained vigilant at his post by Bifrost Bridge. His keen sight allowed him glimpses into all 9 realms. He sensed disturbances across Midgard, but couldn't pinpoint their origin, a feeling that left a nagging concern in his heart regarding Loki's intentions. Leaned back slightly against a wall, adorned with images depicting glorious battles fought by Odin himself, the very essence of honor clashing with chaos embodied by this one god, who walked a fine line between creation and destruction. With a wry smile playing upon his lips, he listened intently as they debated around him. The assembly gradually began to unravel into arguments fueled by past grievances and future fears, until Odin raised a hand once more to regain control over discussions surrounding chaos incarnate, Loki himself. With curiosity piqued amongst them about what schemes lay beneath Loki's seemingly nonchalant demeanor, they pondered whether this return heralded doom, or perhaps just another round in their eternal game of cat and mouse. Plans began forming amidst whispered fears and heated debates surrounding vigilance versus aggression against Loki's antics. A sense settled upon Asgard. Fate had woven itself tightly around these characters once again, as echoes from history's untold beckoned forth new challenges ahead. In the heart of Asgard, whispers of uncertainty filled the grand hall. Loki, ever the master of disguise and deception, had begun his subtle game. With a flicker of mischief in his eyes, he transformed into a sly little squirrel, darting around the vast expanse of the golden halls. In this form, he scurried beneath tables and amongst unsuspecting feet, eavesdropping on conversations between the gods. Thor, oblivious to the lurking chaos, boasted about his latest feats in battle. He spoke with such pride that even Odin raised an eyebrow in amusement. Yet unbeknownst to them all, Loki was gathering secrets, weaknesses that would serve him well when opportunity knocked. Meanwhile, Heimdall stood watch at the Bifrost Bridge. His keen senses picked up disturbances across Midgard, animals acting strangely, and storms brewing without warning. He felt a knot tighten in his stomach as he realized these were not natural occurrences, but rather signs of Loki's mischief creeping into their world once again. Freya sensed something amiss and sought out Loki amidst the shadows. He found him perched upon a branch outside her window, in another guise this time as an alluring maiden cloaked in silver mist. A smile played on Freya's lips as she approached him cautiously. Loki's charm radiated through the air as he attempted to sway her with flattery and playful banter. Yet Freya remained steadfast. She demanded answers about his intentions, while skillfully navigating his attempts to distract her with trivialities. "You tread upon dangerous ground," she warned softly but firmly. "Your games may have dire consequences for all of us." Loki tilted his head slightly, intrigued by her concern yet unfazed by it. He saw an opportunity, a chance to ally with one who understood both beauty and strategy amidst chaos. With a glimmer of mischief dancing in his eyes, he proposed a pact. If Freya aided him by sharing secrets whispered among the gods, he would refrain from sowing harm during his escapades. Freya hesitated for a moment before recognizing that perhaps this alliance could yield benefits. They both desired a way to keep closer tabs on Loki, while potentially curbing any rampant tricks that might lead them into darkness. Dawn broke over Asgard's horizon. Freya agreed quietly to their unspoken agreement, an understanding born not just from trust, but necessity amid turbulent times ahead. And even as they plotted together under starlit skies, filled with divine glow above them, the winds shifted ominously around Asgard, suggesting change loomed close at hand. Fate had its own plans waiting just beyond their reach. Within Thor's company came whispers carried by servants, the kind that cast shadows over their celebration feasts whenever Loki's name was uttered nearby. God of Thunder bristled at any mention of the trickster and vowed vengeance against whoever may suffer at Loki's hands again. Heimdall remained vigilant atop Bifrost Bridge, should trouble arise from either side from Loki, or those who would respond violently to him. He would be ready to intervene swiftly before matters escalated beyond control. So began an intricate dance between loyalty and cunning alliances, forged under moonlit skies, where nothing was quite what it seemed anymore, a precarious balance, woven delicately through silence, punctuated only by laughter echoing. Mischievously across Asgard's heights, the heart of Asgard, as the gods convened and deliberated their course of action, Balder entered with a worried expression etched upon his handsome features. He had always been sensitive to the threads of fate that wove through existence. There was a heaviness in his heart, an unease that clawed at him relentlessly. In hushed tones, he shared with those assembled his troubling dreams, visions filled with shadows and whispers of doom looming over him. Freya listened intently, her brow furrowing as she processed Balder's words. Deep within her, warned her that these dreams were not mere figments, but harbingers of something darker, perhaps even Loki's trickery entwined in their midst once more. Atmosphere shifted subtly. The air grew thick with tension as dread settled among them. Odin's piercing gaze fell upon Balder, recognizing the distress swirling around him like an ominous storm cloud. The All-Father understood the significance of dreams in their realm, a warning from the Norns themselves, could not be taken lightly. Also sensed Loki lurking in the background, his laughter echoing like dark thunder across their thoughts. Discussions began anew about how to protect Balder from whatever dire fate awaited him. Loki observed quietly from a distance. His mind raced with possibilities for chaos. After all, what better way to forge mischief than by playing upon fears already festering among them? A spark ignited within him. A cunning plan began to take shape. With great stealth, Loki devised a wicked scheme involving mistletoe, an unassuming plant overlooked by even the most vigilant eyes among the gods. This seemingly innocent botanical marvel would become the weapon in his hands, sharp and deadly when wielded correctly against Balder during one of their playful gatherings meant to celebrate invulnerability. The days passed swiftly as Thor prepared himself for any potential threats that could arise from Loki's influence or otherwise. His muscles tensed at every possible turn. He had seen too much chaos spring forth unpredictably before the damage wrought by Loki's hand was never forgotten nor easily forgiven. Meanwhile, Freya remained torn between her admiration for cleverness and caution toward deceitful tricks, designed solely for amusement at another's expense. She sought counsel from Heimdall, who observed everything from Bifrost Bridge, but remained silent regarding any insights into possible calamities looming ahead. It wasn't long before word spread throughout Asgard about an impending game set in honor of Balder, a gathering where laughter mingled freely alongside anxious hearts hoping for respite amid growing fears surrounding fate's cruel intentions. On that fateful day beneath shimmering skies, a all gathered within grand halls bedecked with garlands of flowers amidst jubilant songs echoing off golden walls, painted bright under sunlight's caress. They played together, merrily unaware of impending peril lurking just behind corners cloaked in shadows. They ignited Bolvar's spirit further, while unknowingly sealing their own fates through joyous revelry, tinged ever so slightly by archer forces at play. Path paved with light and mirth awaited peril, waiting patiently like a predator stalking its prey. It was only a matter of time until mischief unfurled its wings yet again, and destiny would bear witness to how willingly they danced along strings manipulated deftly by Loki himself in the wake of Baldur's tragic departure. Asgard lay shrouded in grief. The once vibrant halls echoed with sorrow as the gods struggled to comprehend the depths of their loss. Loki's trickery had led to this heart-wrenching moment, and anger swirled like a tempest among the Aesir, directed squarely at him. Odin, the All-Father, stood tall but hollow within his great hall. His mind raced with thoughts of vengeance, while his heart ached for his beloved son. He sent forth search parties across the realms, seeking out any trace of Loki, who had vanished into shadows upon realizing the magnitude of his actions. Odin's gaze was piercing, filled with authority, yet deep within him lingered uncertainty about how best to address this crisis. Meanwhile, Freya moved through Asgard like a gentle breeze, her presence soothing yet firm, teached her fellow gods not to act rashly against Loki. Her voice resonated with wisdom. They were already enveloped in chaos, without adding further bloodshed to their burdens. They needed clarity, rather than reaction, a chance for understanding, amidst all-consuming fury. Face contorted with frustration as he listened to Freya's plea. Grief transformed into rage for him, and he yearned for immediate action against Loki. Swift retribution seemed the only way to quell that searing pain in his heart. Yet, even as he spoke heatedly about finding Loki and unleashing Mjolnir upon him, there remained an undercurrent of doubt. Could it truly bring back what had been lost? Heimdall watched from atop Bifrost Bridge. For vigilant and aware of both sides' mounting tensions, the agony that wrapped around Asgard like tendrils choking life from its core contrasted sharply against Loki's very nature as a trickster capable of igniting light amid darkness. He pondered silently how best to navigate these tumultuous waters, where emotions ran high and consequences loomed dangerously close. Amongst whispers shared in shaded corners and glimpses caught beneath flickering torchlight, it spread rapidly throughout Asgard. Would not return unless something extraordinary occurred, a miracle or clever ploy that might persuade Hela herself to release him from Helheim's grasp. Desperation born from sorrow intertwined with hope's fragile tendrils. Loki finally emerged from hiding his guise, shifting once more under layers of mischief, surrounding them all like thick fog rolling over mountainsides cloaked by mystery. With newfound determination, fueled by remorse, yet still tinged by shadowy intent, characteristic of his being, it was time for redemption or ruin. Audience with Hela became paramount, a venture fraught with risk requiring cunning negotiation skills, known only too well by one who danced upon edges between realms each day. He stepped forward through twilight shadows, cast above frost-kissed fields, leading toward Helheim's gates. Tensions sharpened within him like blades forged anew amidst fires, embraced the mischievous spark still flickered somewhere deep inside, even if now it burned alongside genuine, longing for atonement shaped by love that could never die. Midst storms raging outside those golden walls, in the aftermath of Baldur's tragic death, Asgard fell into a somber silence that echoed through the great halls. Once vibrant laughter and joyous celebrations were replaced with hushed whispers and heavy hearts. Odds who once stood together now faced each other as strangers, their bonds frayed by grief and anger. Odin, the All-Father, felt the weight of sorrow pressing down upon him like an oppressive storm cloud. He had lost not just a son, but a beacon of hope for Asgard, a loss so profound that it sent tremors throughout all 9 realms. He he summoned the remaining gods to discuss what was to be done about Loki, whose actions had triggered this calamity. They gathered in the grand hall. Thor's fury was palpable, his brows knitted tightly as he spoke against Loki with bitter conviction. Each word dripped with disdain as he painted a vivid image of revenge retribution for Baldur's untimely demise. Yet even in his rage, Thor was torn. There lingered an instinctual understanding that violence could spiral into chaos once more. Freya, her heart heavy with compassion, yet riddled with frustration at Loki's trickery, sought to temper Thor's wrath. Urged caution, blind vengeance would only lead them further into despair. Freya believed instead, in seeking understanding, a conversation with Loki might hold answers they needed, rather than heading down a path of bloodshed. Meanwhile, Heimdall watched over Asgard from Bifrost Bridge like a steadfast sentinel. His golden eyes pierced through time and space, aware of every movement within the realms. He sensed Loki lurking amidst shadows, not out of fear, but rather desperation for redemption, after witnessing the devastation left in his wake. This tumultuous atmosphere, filled with conflicting emotions among gods who were both grieving and vengeful, Loki found himself trapped between remorse and defiance. His heart felt heavy under layers of guilt, yet amidst this turmoil surged an ember of determination, a flicker ignited by hope that perhaps he could right his wrongs, or at least find some semblance of peace within himself. Thus came forth Loki's audacious plan. He would approach Hela, the fearsome goddess ruling over Helheim, with an offer to negotiate for Baldur's return from death's clutches. It was a risky move, but one that held potential for salvation, should he play his cards right. With newfound resolve coursing through him like fire igniting dry, would Loki sought out Odin first to propose this daring venture to broker peace between life and death itself, by winning favor from Hela through clever negotiation, rather, and brute force wielded by enraged gods seeking justice without comprehension. \n. Odin listened intently, skepticism etched across his weathered face. Did any good come from trusting Loki again? But deep down lay an awareness that they were running out of options. Desperation mingled softly around them, like mist hanging low above fields ripe for harvest, each breath echoing losses. Unspoken, \n. Thor remained staunchly opposed, though reluctant agreement hovered over him when presented alongside Freya's gentle persuasion toward compromise, even if it meant embracing whatever chaotic schemes sprung forth from their old foe. \n. Finally acknowledging that perhaps alliances forged amid strife could yield unexpected results, Odin granted permission, cautiously allowing Loki to pursue this path, while reminding everyone present about vigilance against deception. And intricately, into his very essence. \n. And so began preparations under twilight skies, where plans unfolded quietly amongst whispers, shared behind closed doors, a strategy emerging subtly amidst turmoil within their hearts, reflecting both darkness looming ahead, yet also glimmers hinting at brighter days waiting patiently just beyond reach. \n. As night descended upon Asgard, cloaked in mystery, the gods awaited anxiously, hoping for resolution, while embracing uncertainty, dancing ever closer toward destiny, shaped by choices made beneath stars shimmering brightly overhead. Illuminating futures bound together, forever intertwined, in the wake of Baldur's tragic departure. Asgard lay shrouded in grief. The once vibrant halls echoed with sorrow as the gods struggled to comprehend the depths of their loss. Loki's trickery had led to this heart-wrenching moment, and anger swirled like a tempest among the Aesir, directed squarely at him. Odin, the All-Father, stood tall but hollow within his great hall. His mind raced with thoughts of vengeance, while his heart ached for his beloved son. He sent forth search parties across the realms, seeking out any trace of Loki, who had vanished into shadows upon realizing the magnitude of his actions. Odin's gaze was piercing, filled with authority, yet deep within him lingered uncertainty about how best to address this crisis. Meanwhile, Freya moved through Asgard like a gentle breeze, her presence soothing yet firm. teached her fellow gods not to act rashly against Loki. Her voice resonated with wisdom. They were already enveloped in chaos, without adding further bloodshed to their burdens. They needed clarity, rather than reaction, a chance for understanding, amidst all-consuming fury. Face contorted with frustration as he listened to Freya's plea. Grief transformed into rage for him. He yearned for immediate action against Loki. Swift retribution seemed the only way to quell that searing pain in his heart. Yet, even as he spoke heatedly about finding Loki and unleashing Mjolnir upon him, there remained an undercurrent of doubt. Could it truly bring back what had been lost? Heimdall watched from atop Bifrost Bridge. For vigilant and aware of both sides' mounting tensions, the agony that wrapped around Asgard like tendrils choking life from its core contrasted sharply against Loki's very nature as a trickster capable of igniting light amid darkness. He pondered silently how best to navigate these tumultuous waters, where emotions ran high and consequences loomed dangerously close. Amongst whispers shared in shaded corners and glimpses caught beneath flickering torchlight, spread rapidly throughout Asgard, would not return unless something extraordinary occurred, a miracle or clever ploy that might persuade Hela herself to release him from Helheim's grasp. Desperation born from sorrow intertwined with hope's fragile tendrils. Loki finally emerged from hiding his guise, shifting once more under layers of mischief, surrounding them all like thick fog rolling over mountainsides cloaked by mystery. With newfound determination, fueled by remorse, yet still tinged by shadowy intent, characteristic of his being, it was time for redemption or ruin. Audience with Hela became paramount, a venture fraught with risk requiring cunning negotiation skills, known only too well by one who danced upon edges between realms each day. He stepped forward through twilight shadows, cast above frost-kissed fields, leading toward Helheim's gates. Tensions sharpened within him like blades forged anew amidst fires. Embraced the mischievous spark still flickered somewhere deep inside, even if now it burned alongside genuine, longing for atonement shaped by love that could never die. Midst storms raging outside those golden walls, upon reaching Helheim's threshold, a chill enveloped him, not merely from the cold, but from an overwhelming sense of dread that accompanied anyone who dared tread on this sacred ground, ruled by Hela herself. She possessed eyes that could pierce through souls. Thus caution became imperative as he approached her domain. Hela welcomed him not warmly, but instead with curiosity, laced heavily in suspicion after all. Loki seek her presence unless entangled in another scheme. Yet Loki understood this dance well. Charm mingled intricately alongside wit would be essential if he were to sway her towards mercy, rather than vengeance against those souls trapped within her clutches forevermore. Her discourse began tentatively at first, a test measuring boundaries, established long before between goddesses, woven delicately through threads spun on ancient looms, binding fate together tightly across worlds, beyond comprehension. Lone, but soon spiraled into a battle of wits, amidst flowing banter, reflecting hearts heavy laden beneath playful masks, adorned beautifully crafted, yet sullied slightly along edges, touched too frequently by chaos itself over lifetimes. Bent together navigating treacherous terrains, painted vividly across stories, told time again throughout ages past. Loki leaned into charm while guiding their conversations seamlessly towards justifications behind Baldur's untimely. Passing as though weaving tales meant solely for captivating minds, yet ultimately ushering glimpses toward deep truths buried beneath layers forged carefully throughout existence, shaping everything they knew down paths unpredictable traced. Early away even now, yet Hela remained unyielding despite attempts made there in her resolve, fortified against temptations swirling around them like clouds drifting lazily above endless horizons, shimmering brightly below. It appeared no charming repartee nor smooth-tongued flattery could tip scales weighed heavily upon choices laid bare before them. Both nestled cautiously over rocky terrains, cradling darker memories, lingering still etched deeply into every soul. Remembered fondly awaiting liberation just beyond grasp. with time fleeting fast between breaths exchanged, filled increasingly charged tension, pulsing vibrantly throughout air-thickening moments, stretching painfully thin across distances. Measured starkly by purpose brought forth here today, hope flickered dimly amid despair, cloaking every heartbeat, punctuating silence, growing louder, echoing steadfast, pleading heartstrings, straining desperately towards unity sought after. Endlessly chasing dreams deferred, languishing, far past reach, always looming, tantalizing, closer, daring, destiny beckoning forth brighter days ahead, where harmony might blossom, anew blossoming, freely nurtured, gently caressed, tenderly embraced. Transforming chaos woven expertly hand in hand, perhaps someday soon.